Hi everyone, Miss Fleming here. So I'm making this video to show you how to put your clarinet together and how to take it apart appropriately. Behind me on the smartboard, I've taken a picture of what my case looks like if I open it and it's right in front of me on the ground. So let's imagine we're looking down at our cases. We're going to look at the different pieces of the clarinet, and I've actually labeled them for you up here so it's easier to follow along. And if I say upper joint, lower joint, and you're like, oh no, which one is that? You can help me find it by looking at this picture. So at the back of your case, and again, this is if you're looking at it like if it's on the ground, this is the lower joint. The lower joint is going to be the furthest piece away from you. And I know in class when we were greasing our cork, we noticed that the lower joint only has one piece of cork on it, whereas the upper joint has two. So if you ever figure like you're getting confused on upper joint versus lower joint, the lower joint only has one piece of cork. And then another way that I can tell the difference is the lower joint on the back of it has this little thumb rest. I have my grippy on there right now, but you should have a thumb rest. On the upper joint, which would be closest to you, it has two pieces of cork. And if you forget to look for the two pieces of cork, instead of a thumb rest, we have a thumb hole on the back. Now, I don't want you picking up these pieces just yet. I'm just doing this to show you that if you get confused, there are two different ways you can figure it out. Look for the cork and look for whatever thing your thumb touches. Then in the middle of our case right here, we have three different pieces. On the far right is your bell, and this looks just like a bell that you would ring. In the middle, you'll see your barrel, and again, this also looks like a barrel. How creative. And then the last piece is our mouthpiece. And remember, our mouthpiece is actually in three parts in our case. It has our ligature, our mouthpiece, and our mouthpiece cap. For the sake of this video, I'm gonna leave that on my instrument and just keep showing you how to put it together. First things first, and we went over this in class, you never, ever, 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 ever put your clarinet together without greasing the cork first, because if your cork is dry, your instrument's gonna get stuck. And Miss Fleming is only so strong. I have seen so many instruments that I was not able to pull apart, so we just had to leave them together. And if you do that, you're gonna break it. So please make sure that you grease your cork before putting your instrument together. For the sake of this video and keeping it moving fast, I've already greased my cork, so I'm not going to show you how to do that. I'm just gonna show you how to put the pieces together. So I actually want you to start with the lower joint. Now when we pick up joints from our case, we're going to gently take our pointer fingers and we're gonna put them on either side of the joint. Put our fingers just underneath them, because remember your clarinet is hollow, and then you can gently pick it up and your fingers will be inside of it. So if I was looking for the lower joint, I'm going to put one finger over here and one finger over here and gently lift it like this. Now once I have this in my hands, again, on one side there are a lot of keys, on the other there are none. So we're going to take one of our hands. I always do my left hand just because it's easier. You're going to take your left hand, and on the side where there are no keys, you're going to make sure your thumb rest is up top, and you're going to gently take your palm and put your palm on the part on the bottom, right there. You're going to gently but firmly wrap your fingers around it. It's okay to press these keys right here, but I don't want you ever, ever touching these rods, because all of your keys are connected to these little bars right here called rods. And if you bend a rod, all of your keys will be broken. Now, worst case scenario, if you're gently grabbing by the keys, if you break a key, it's only one. But if you break a rod, that breaks all of the keys. So please make sure you are gently but firmly grasping your lower joint from the back with your fingers gently wrapped around, not touching the rod. With your other hand, I want you to grab your bell. So you're going to pick up your bell, and the bell doesn't have any keys on it, so you don't really have to be worried about where your hand is. I always put my fingers inside the bell just because it gives me better grip when I'm putting the pieces together. When you do this, I want you to stay seated. I'm doing this standing up for now, so I'm gonna do it on my belly, but when you're doing this, I want you to do it on your legs. So you're gonna put the side of your bell that's biggest, so if I'm holding it like this, the bottom, the bigger side is gonna go on your leg. Like I said, I'm doing it on my belly right now. You're going to take the side with the cork on your lower joint, and you're going to line that cork up with your bell. And you're just going to gently but firmly press it in. Now, since all of you guys have newer instruments, it might not be as easy as it was for me, so you might have to twist it back and forth a little bit, and that's okay. But we never, ever, 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 ever just like cram our instrument together like that. If you do it at an angle, it's going to break. So you want to make sure that it's lined up perfectly, and then you can twist it in. If you're having any issues with this, let me know, because I would rather help you than have you break your instrument. So now we have the lower joint and our bell put together. Now we can grab it from the bell, and we're going to keep it on our leg while we do this. But now we're going to grab our upper joint. So we're going to use our pointer fingers to grab our upper joint. Same thing here. You're going to gently place a finger over here and gently place a finger over here and lift it up. Now, I talked about this in class. These keys right here that you see, they're kind of floating off the instrument. If we picked our clarinet up by this side and you lifted it up, those keys are gonna get crammed into your case, and they bend so easily. So when we're picking up our upper joint, we always make sure that we pick up the side with these keys first, because we don't want those crushing into the case. So take your pointer finger, lift this side up out of the case, then you can grab this side. All right, now I'm holding my upper joint. And again, this is going to be easier for you because you'll be sitting, and I'll go over this in class with you. This video is just a refresher, just in case. On the upper joint, there is a side with less keys than the other side. So these keys right here are super, super sensitive. We don't want to grab those ever. Same with the rods right here. We don't grab those rods. Now, at the top, there's way more space for your hands, so we're going to gently, again, put our palm on the back side. And it's okay if your palm touches this key. This is called your register key, above your thumb hole. You can put your palm there and gently wrap your fingers around. Be careful that you don't touch these rods, though. And we're going to line it up. And when we line up our clarinet, we always make sure that this little piece right here, this little piece of metal that's hanging over, if you can see it, this piece lines up perfectly with this. This is called your bridge key. Sorry, I don't know if my head got in the way of the video. This is called your bridge key. We want to make sure that that's lined up perfectly. And on this side, we don't shimmy it, because if you shimmy it, you can break it. You just want to press it right in. And if you check right there, the bridge key lines up. It's called the bridge key because it's like a bridge. It goes over this gap right here between the two joints. Now, if your bridge key is lined up perfectly, if you look down your instrument, you'll see your tone holes, the holes where your fingers go. Those are also like perfectly lined up. So now we have our upper joint, our lower joint, and our bell all put together. Now we only have two pieces left, the barrel and the mouthpiece. The barrel goes on first. See this cork right here? Your barrel is going to fit over that cork. So you're just going to take your barrel out of the case. Again, this piece doesn't have keys. Please don't drop it, but it doesn't really matter how you hold it. You can hold it like this. And this piece you can firmly grasp as well. So we're gonna take our barrel, and again, we're gonna line it up perfectly. We never go at an angle, because if we go at an angle, we can break this very easily. So we're going to line it up perfectly, and we're gonna shimmy it on. Now, again, yours might take a little bit more elbow grease than mine, just because I've greased mine already and yours are brand new. The cork is all swollen and dry. So we're gonna go over this in class. I'm gonna help you as best I can. But that is how you put your barrel on. Now, some of them, like mine, have these little green dots on the top and the bottom. I like to line those up just because I'm a perfectionist, and it makes me feel better if everything is in line with each other. Now, the last piece we have is the mouthpiece. The mouthpiece is the most sensitive piece of our clarinet. If we drop it on the ground, it can actually shatter. And if your mouthpiece shatters or chips or cracks or anything, it will stop making noise. And then your whole instrument won't make any sound because your mouthpiece is broken. This is the piece that goes into our mouth. So it's the first piece that goes to make the sound. And if the mouthpiece is broken in any way, your whole instrument will not make a sound. When you're putting your mouthpiece on, you want to grab your instrument gently. And again, you're going to be doing this on your leg. I'm standing up, so I'm trying to do it on my leg while also showing you. But you can grab it by the barrel, and then you're going to grab your mouthpiece. Now, I take my mouthpiece cap off when I do this, and I'm going to show you guys how to do this in class as well. But if you look at the back of your clarinet, where your thumb rest and your thumb hole and your register key are all lined up, that's the side that your reed goes on. So I left my reed on. Don't ever do what Miss Fleming just did. But when you're putting your mouthpiece on, there's this flat side with a hole on it, and then the other side. We want to make the flat side line up with our register key, our thumb hole, and our thumb rest. So we're going to make sure that that is lined up. And same thing here, you line it up perfectly and then you pull it down. All right. As soon as your clarinets are together, I think I told you this in class as well, but we always make sure that we put our mouthpiece cap on top of it because this is super sensitive, and if we drop it or if somebody knocks it over, your mouthpiece will shatter very easily. So we always keep the cap on when we're not playing, and that is how you put your clarinet together. Now, taking your clarinet apart, we do the exact same thing, but we do it backwards. So the last thing we put on our clarinet, the mouthpiece, is the first piece to come off of our clarinet. Again, we do this because this is the most sensitive part of our instrument and we want to make sure that we're keeping it intact. So we can grab it by the barrel, firmly grasp your mouthpiece, don't squeeze, but just firmly grasp and twist it off, and it should come right off. When you put your mouthpiece in your case, you want to make sure that you put it the exact way that you picked it up. So if you notice in this picture right here, the cork is on the bottom. If you flip it, it's not going to fit and you might break something. So please make sure that your cork is going in the exact same place every time. Now my mouthpiece is off. The second to last thing that we put on, the barrel, is the second thing that we take off. So same thing here, we're gonna firmly but gently grasp our upper joint without touching the rods here, and we're going to grab the barrel and gently twist off. Again, if you're having any issues with this, please let me know because I will help you as best I can. Same thing with the barrel. If you notice, this side is just slightly bigger than this side, so you're always going to put it in the exact same way. So the slightly bigger side should go on the left, the slightly smaller side should go on the right. And if you put these in wrong, again, the barrel won't break as easily, but it will be hard to close your case, and that could be an issue. After we get the barrel off, now it's time for the upper joint to come off. Again, you're resting your clarinet on your leg. We're gonna firmly but gently grab the bottom of your lower joint and firmly grab the top of your upper joint without touching any of the rods and gently pull it apart. Now, if you notice, these keys, the ones I said are super sensitive, hang over. The keys over here also do. So if you twist, those keys will hit each other and it will break your instrument like immediately. So make sure that you're not twisting that way, but you can twist away from them if you have to, just to pull it out. Same thing with your upper joint. I mentioned that these keys, we don't want to dig them into the case. So when you're putting it back in your case, you're going to put this side in first and then gently lower that side, because if you put this side in first and you cram it in there and then drop this one in, these keys are going to bend. So make sure that you're putting this side without those keys in first. The last two pieces are going to come apart just like we put them together. We're going to gently but firmly grasp the side with no keys without touching the rods and grab our barrel and gently twist off. Now, again, if you have any issues with this, let me know because I want to make sure that I can help you as best I can. In your cases, if you forget which side of the lower joint goes in on whichever side, where your thumb rest goes, there's actually a really deep hole in your case. I would show you, but my case is actually different than this one and I'm using my own clarinet. But the thumb rest will go into that deep hole. You can also see in your case, there are little spots for all these keys that I'm warning you about. So if you notice, there's like the case that goes right here, and then there's a space right here, and then it goes back. So if you see this space over here, that's where these keys go. You don't want to put these keys over here, because there is no space. There's no space over here, and you're going to bend them. With this side, same thing up here. There will be a little divot in your case where those keys fit in. There might even be one right here, but these keys typically go over the felt in our case. And we want to make sure that those are going the right direction, because if you flip it and these are going on this side, then when you close your case, it's going to crush them up here. So we don't want to do that. I hope this video is a little bit informational. I'm probably going to put out another one as soon as we start class. I might even film a video during class to make sure that we all are on the right track and you can hear what people's questions are and my answers to those questions, just in case that helps you put your instrument together safer and I hope this was helpful. Again, you're not going to take your instrument home for a couple of weeks just because I want to make sure we all know exactly what we're doing before we do it, because I do not want you to break your clarinets. I would love for you to be able to play them at home, to practice, and at class when we're all playing together. It's going to be a lot of fun, I promise. All right. I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. I can't wait to see you on Monday.